Hey everybody, happy Wednesday afternoon. Alan Weber here. Once again from the mayor's office, urging everyone to wear your face covering when you go out in public. Be sure to use hand sanitizer. Keep social distancing in effect. Let's keep making progress on our goal to flatten the curve, break the back of COVID-19. There's some news that's worth sharing on the COVID-19 front. Yesterday we only had 5 new cases in Santa Fe County. The day before that, only 3 new cases in Santa Fe County. That means our 7-day average is now at roughly 11 new cases a day. That's still pretty darn high, but 5 and 3 is much better than where we were before, which the 2 days before that were 19 and 11. It means we're seeing a positive change. We're seeing progress in our goal of reducing the spread of COVID-19, and the governor, recognizing statewide the trends that are developing, will be making an announcement, I guess tomorrow, although they've released the news today, effective this Saturday, according to the governor's new amended emergency public health order. The houses of worship in our community are allowed to operate at 40% of maximum occupancy. That's an increase from 25%. They still will be following COVID-safe practices. Food and drink establishments, including restaurants, breweries, wineries, distilleries, cafes, coffee shops, or other similar establishments, I assume that includes ice cream parlors, may provide indoor dining service at 25% of maximum occupancy. So as we head into the fall and a little bit cooler weather, that's some good news for our restaurants and other food and drink establishments. They can set up shop indoor. They can continue to provide outdoor dining options, carry out and delivery. Tables outside must be spaced at least 6 feet apart. I'm very happy to tell you that we now have 80 or 90 establishments in Santa Fe where there is outdoor seating, and we're looking at extending that opportunity into the fall and talking to our outdoor restaurants about heating and other ways to keep their business going. They need to continue to be able to serve you and me with takeout, but also outdoor seating that is safe and healthy. All of this will be discussed tomorrow by the governor at a 3 p.m. Press availability on Facebook and in Spanish on YouTube. But I think it reflects some of the numbers that we've seen statewide, and now thankfully we're seeing in the city as the curve goes back down. We're going to continue, the city government will continue to do outreach to the 2 zip codes where we've seen significant increases in the past, 87505, 87507, taking free face masks, hand sanitizer, information, the Santa Fe Promise 2.0 to those communities, and attempting to do our part to help people stay safe and healthy and avoid the spread of COVID-19. Today, it's worth celebrating the arrival of Women's Equality Day. It's today. It's a nonpartisan virtual celebration of the Women's Vote Centennial and ratification of the 19th Amendment. And certainly here in Santa Fe and in New Mexico, with the number of women leaders we have who are in high elected office, from the governor, our congresspeople, our Secretary of State, and other important figures, we celebrate not only the women's right to vote, but also the women's opportunity to lead and to give us the benefit of their wisdom, their experience, their talent. It's a celebration of Equality Day for women in New Mexico. A couple other things, go back to COVID for a minute. A reminder to download the Novid app, N-O-V-I-D. NOVID is really important as a way of doing contact tracing. Another reminder, the census. We're still lagging other states in the United States for people who complete the questionnaire online. When you don't complete the questionnaire online, we lose money. We lose federal funds that could flow right here to Santa Fe and to northern New Mexico, help with our kids, our families, our seniors, help with street paving and other infrastructure needs. Please do fill out the census. My2020census.gov. My2020census.gov. Very simple, takes about 5 minutes, and we are all the beneficiary. You count. Your voice counts. Filling out the census counts and brings money back to New Mexico. Tonight in about half an hour, we'll have a city council meeting. Remember, we're starting them at 4 in the afternoon, and then the evening session, instead of starting at 7, starts at 6, with the idea that we'll have more time for your input and contribution, and have the meetings not last as long as they have recently. We'll try to get our business, your business, the public's business done at a good time and in a reasonable amount of time. The big item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing around a reorganization of city government to do 3 major things. One, create a community engagement office by bringing our constituent relations, constituent services, and council services office into the city clerk's office. Most of the election responsibilities have now moved from the city clerk to the county, and so our city clerk is going to become increasingly an outward-facing, a door, a portal for you to get information, for you to get data, for you to access records of the city, and for us to give answers to your questions about what's going on in the community. Second is a community development department. It brings together the departments that currently exist independently in tourism and land use, economic development, housing, the arts and culture department, all of which really work to create neighborhood livability. They are our unified effort to create job opportunities, livable neighborhoods, housing choices. Arts and culture, it runs across everything we do in Santa Fe, and then of course planning and zoning is instrumental to building the Santa Fe of the future. Bringing those together so they work together, collaborate, work hand in hand to deliver to you livable neighborhoods is the point of that new team of leaders. The other team of leaders is in health, community health and community safety. It's not a secret that all over the United States and here in Santa Fe, communities are re-examining the connection between public health and public safety. We have police officers who go take care of calls for service involving people who are experiencing homelessness or perhaps mental or behavioral health issues. Wouldn't it make more sense to have social workers or people equipped with professional skills to deal with social issues, not criminal justice issues? Bringing together in a new combined effort, police, fire, our emergency management office, and our recreation department, and also our community services team, so that we really begin to look effectively at the social determinants of health, things that set people up to get sick. If we address them before people get sick or then go into the criminal justice system, can we reduce the calls to the police department that should be handled by other people? Those are the 3 major components of this thing we'll be voting on tonight, this ordinance. It will be a change, and change is hard. Change is a bit of a challenge for everybody in our lives, but I think it's going to be a change for the better. I think we will be reviewing it as we start the budget next spring. We'll see what's working and what isn't working or what could work better. But in terms of what it can mean to you very directly, let me give you an example. Now, this is a little bit of inside information about how city government actually works. This is a chart. You probably can't read it. It's very small print. But it's a chart that is used as a decision matrix to decide which city department responds when you call asking for help and how that assignment is made. This is really the functioning of services to you. So let me give you one example that we hear about all the time, and that has to do with the question of weeds, trees, and vegetation. Always a problem in Santa Fe. We've got weeds in the medians, we've got weeds in the parks, we've got vegetation growing where we wish it wouldn't. And the question is, whose job is it to clean it up? So let's say you pick up the phone and you call our constituent services department and you say, I have a problem with weeds or trees, vegetation. Well, the question you might be asked is, where are the weeds growing? And the reason that's important, and I'm smiling, it's not really funny, it's kind of sad. If the weeds, trees, and vegetation are growing on city-owned property, Parks and Recreation is supposed to cut it and get rid of the weed. Now, if it's on a street, it goes to the streets operation in Public Works. Well, what if it's in the middle of the street, but the rest of the street is okay? Well, then it goes to Parks, not to Public Works. What if it's on private property? Then it goes to code enforcement. Well, what about if it's at a bus stop? Well, then the transit operation has to cut down the weeds. Not that we have a lot of people in our transit operation who have weed whackers. What if it's in an arroyo? Oh, well, in that case, engineering and stormwater are supposed to take care of the weeds. And so you can see how, given our current structure, our current organization chart, if you have something that's in a median, but it's not in a street, because the street itself is fine, our Parks Department will cut down the weeds, but our street operation will have to come sweep up the litter from the middle of the street. That really is not the best use of resources of your tax dollar. And not only that, it doesn't really make the city look as good as it should if we unified the acts of cleaning up the weeds and picking up after the weeds get cut. These are things that really we're trying to make simpler, less expensive, easier for you to get the results you want, easier for our crews to feel good about the service they're delivering, because you can imagine if you work for the city and there's this kind of gap in service and you end up feeling that you're not really delivering what you want as a city employee, it really decreases your morale. We want our workers to feel appreciated, we want them to know their work is valued, and we want you to know that our city organization is set up so you get the results you want. That's part of the vote tonight. The other thing that is a little bit of an inside baseball fact, but it's also interesting if you're a student of city government, is how many people currently report directly to our city manager. Now, if you are a student of management in general, you'll know that for the most part, human resource professionals, management schools like the one down at UNM will tell you that any leader, any manager should have no more than 7 or 8 people reporting to them directly. After that span of control gets bigger than 7 or 8, it turns into just too many people reporting to do your job effectively. You might be interested to know that for the last 3 or more years, our city manager, regardless of who it was, has had 17 direct reports. A city organization chart that is spread out like a garden rake. And it's not coherent, it's not simple, It's not easy for our city manager to do his or her job. It's not easy for the people who are reporting to the city manager to feel like they're getting the attention they need to be helped to succeed in their jobs. So what we're doing is simplifying the span of control, making those direct reports from 17 to 7, grouping departments that work together in a unit, in a team, so they can work effectively, giving you better responses because there's less bureaucracy spread out and more coherence, ending up saving money, delivering better services, and resulting in a city government that is professional, modern, streamlined, efficient, and effective. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it something you do once and you're all done? Of course not. I looked at the organization charts of the city government over the last 10 to 15 years. It's always changing. It changes as we get new information, as we add more opportunities for us to deliver services better. It's going to continue to change. And in fact, we already know that when we set up the budget process for next spring to start the next fiscal year, we'll be taking a hard look at what's working and what's not working and how to make this change even more effective. But for now, it's a step in the right direction. It continues a process, frankly, that began when the voters of Santa Fe voted 6 years ago, 7 years ago, to change the city charter, create a full-time mayor, and give that mayor more authority to be the chief executive officer of the city, because city government in Santa Fe has become bigger in its responsibility, more complex in all the factors we have to deal with, and more modern in the investments that we have to make in information technology and other processes, from water treatment facilities to now all of our garbage trucks have GPS on them to monitor exactly what their best route should be. It's becoming more sophisticated. We're growing up, and we need our organization chart to grow up too. So that'll be a vote tonight. It's a little controversial because change is always controversial. But it's a step in the right direction, and it will take us further down the path that we've already been on to bring Santa Fe city government back to better service, more efficient service, more cost-effective service to you, doing better with your tax dollar. It's actually only going to be in 15 minutes now, so I went on a little bit too long, but this is the kind of thing where you, as a resident of Santa Fe, you deserve to know why we're doing this, not just what we're doing. Why are we thinking about a reorganization now? Why are we willing to make some changes now? The answer is, this is a time, COVID-19 has brought so many changes to all of our lives. This is a time for us to try something new, give ourselves the opportunity to experiment with a new organizational structure that should be more streamlined and efficient, less bureaucratic, better services, review it in 6 months, and keep evolving city government to bring you better services. Thanks for watching. I want to go back to where I started, which is the importance of COVID-19 and bending the curve. Wear a mask. Use hand sanitizer. Remind your family when they go out to wash their hands, when they come home to wash their hands. We're all in this together. The more we crack down on COVID-19, the more the governor will be able to open things up. We'll find our lives more fun, and we'll find more opportunities, and we'll find more ways for us to celebrate as a community. Before I sign off, a big shout out to the school district for getting going, and to moms and dads across Santa Fe, and to young people who are going back to virtual school. Thanks for making this time work. It's different, but it can be fine. It can be better in some ways by coming closer together and supporting each other. If you can volunteer for the school district, they're looking for tutors, mentors, people who can speak Spanish and English, bringing education to kids across our city. It is an absolutely essential part of growing the future of Santa Fe. Thanks for watching. Keep safe. Keep yourself safe. Keep your family safe. Keep our community safe. And I will see you at the end of the week. Take care.